Hey, what's up everybody? It is Kellen here from Start Your Systems, and welcome to another edition of Track Walk in MX Simulator, where today we're going to be playing HotDog by Muzart, who has been releasing a lot of tracks lately on the forums, so I figured I'd give him a little bit of a shout out here. Actually, I should give a shout out to Josh Collins in the comment section, who said I should check out his tracks. He specifically said I should check out Long Dog and then HotDog, but I'm just going straight to HotDog, his most recent track release. And this one's a lot of fun. It's fast, pretty flowy. It's got really big jumps, so everybody always loves the big jumps for busting some big whips. And in general, it's not like I would say it's not like a track that ranks super highly on my, like, wow, this is the coolest environment ever, because it's pretty standard. In fact, actually, if you look at the track from overhead, if I go in editor real quick, I don't know, like, not anything really like crazy, pretty standard type of track. Like layout wise, it's nothing super awesome or anything like that, but the way that he has all the jumps put together, the ruts, the corners, the bumps, it all just flows so well together that it creates just like kind of a super track out of a lot of just like really kind of simple stuff. So I like that, because it, from an onset, it does look like a track that maybe won't be that fun, just being honest, and then you play it and it's actually a lot of fun. So it's kind of cool, because it almost to me feels like just a little bit of like a hidden gem type of track, where you start playing it and you, before you know it, you've done like 20 laps on the track, throwing big whips all over the place, and you had a blast doing so. Yeah, definitely a track that I'd recommend, hence why we're doing it for Track Walk today. And I know you guys were all like, oh no, he did Track Walk on MX bikes and said that MX Simulator might be going away. Oh heck, time to freak out. But don't worry folks, we're still doing track walks in MX Simulator. You do not need to worry. And I know my mouse is on the middle of the screen right now. It's bothering me too. Let's see if I can move it on this jump. There it is. Nice. Taking my hand off the bars to move the mouse. That is just the ultimate definition of a computer tear off if I've ever seen one. But yeah, we're still doing track walks in Sim. Calm down, people. It's not going away. It's not going away anytime soon either, because there's still way too many tracks that I haven't checked out yet. I've got to get around and check out more tracks. But again, today, just going to give Muzart a little bit of love. He's been putting out probably like 3 or 4 different tracks basically since quarantine started. So he's kind of kept everybody occupied almost during this quarantine with his track releases. And I have played a couple of his other tracks, so this isn't my first go around with his track, but yeah, it's just got like, you know, the same features all across the board. Just pretty wide track. Every corner seems to have like 3 to 4 ruts at least, and then kind of like every section has some order of flow to the next jump. So what I mean by that is whatever you're doing in a straightaway, it's like directly leading into what will happen next. So as you come out of this corner, he almost built this roller to hit hard so that you can carry speed up this hill to get this quad all the way to the top of the hill. I guess that's a quad, I don't really know. And then there's split lines here. You go outside or inside. If you go outside, you can kind of like triple down the hill. Inside is just doubling, and then more rutted corners down here. But then like this one, little roller into a step up, and then like a pretty big tabletop at the end of this, so you actually do have to slow down for a little bit to not OJ on a 450 and keep crashing on it. But what I mean again by like the flow into the next section is some people make tracks where they have a long straightaway. They're not really sure how they want to, I guess, construct the track before they just lay out the track. So what happens is they end up building like a nice like double, triple, and then they're like, well crap, like I still have half my straightaway left to go, and I don't want to turn this into a huge jump at the end of it, so I got to slow down the speed somehow. And they either have some sort of jump that completely breaks up flow, like a really small double or table, or even like a wall jump or something like that right in the middle of their straightaways. And while it does work in some areas, most of the time, like, it's just something that you hate, because it's almost like a combo breaker where it's like, oh man, I was flowing, I was feeling so good. You almost want that feeling where you're just like, you're going fast into the next corner, you rip the corner, then you're going fast all the way down the straightaway into the next corner. Like, you don't feel like you need to finesse anything. And this track does that very well. Like, I don't feel like at any point I come up to a jump and I'm like, oh, I'm going way too fast, I gotta slow way down for it. It just flows together really, really nicely. One thing I didn't check that I should have, though, is how it feels on a 250F because I'm on a 450, so clearly I'm carrying a lot of speed regardless. The 450 has a lot of power, and you can clear a lot of these big jumps because of that. I don't know if, you know, playing on a 250 makes everything a little bit tougher then, like you can't really get over the big jumps or what have you. But at least on a 450, this track has terrific flow. I did, you know, kind of knock the environment at the beginning a little bit, but what I do like is that he was pretty consistent with like putting this dusky theme all around the racetrack instead of it just being like a couple trees or anything like that. He's got the trees mixed in with the pink and the orange. I know he's got the green trees that kind of, I guess, like ruin that vibe a little bit, but got a little bit of haze all throughout the track too. I like that he took the time to put some like rocks in as a little bit of atmosphere and stuff like that. Just you could tell that he didn't just like put this track down and say, that's it, I'm just, you know, this is a track, it's gonna have decals and I'm good. It's got the hay bales, it's got the finish line banners. It's a fairly long lap time too, so even though it doesn't seem like you're going really all over the place or anything like that, by the end of it you've actually been spinning laps or spinning a lap for a long time. So overall, just a good kind of complete racetrack. It's nothing overpowering, it's nothing underwhelming. It's just a good racetrack, and I always like seeing new creators in the community. I know Muzart isn't like brand new, but it's just cool to see that he's been putting out tracks and kind of keeping people entertained. So again, just a shout out to him for taking the time to put out another absolute banger of a track, which I'm going to try my very best to start throwing just huge whips on that I actually can land. I am not very good at whips in this game. I'm definitely very awful at oppo whips in this game, but I want to try to get a couple of those off. I love this jump right here. It's got such a perfect lip for throwing just huge whips down this hill. So much speed carried into this corner. Got to get slowed down so you can get into these rollers a little bit smoother. But just the way that he's constructed these jumps, such a good flow. Each section really nicely put together. Let me try to sneak to this inside line. I don't think I've taken this inside line once on this track. I always flow to the outside line here, but then you just carry speed up the hill. Another big jump with a nice lip on it to throw some whippage off of. We'll flow into this third right here. I was meaning to go inside in the next turn, but anyway, I just ended up out here. Like this too, kind of like an uphill double and then into a nice little floater. I guess you'd call it a double. It looks like a step up from the initial takeoff, but it turns into just kind of like a tabletop / double. Downhill quad, triple, whatever you want to call it. And then this jump's really cool too because it's like you almost like tap your elbows on the middle jump of that triple when you're scrubbing it, or whipping it in my case, I guess. So I like that. And it's actually a pretty good lap that I ran here. I think I fell once, but other than that, it is a 224. That's not terrible. I think I did a 222 earlier when I was just kind of messing around on this track, so it's a little bit harder to play sometimes when you're talking, but at least right now I'm not doing that bad playing it. Let's see if I can. I want to try to bust like an oppo whip on one of these jumps. These uphill jumps are really good to do oppo whips on. Oh boy. Oh, land it. Oh man, that was a crash waiting to happen. At least for me, oppo whips are much easier to do on the bigger jumps that are going uphill because you kind of get like a lift on them a little bit more because of how intense the angle is on the ramp. Like a downhill jump, you don't get the same kind of, I guess, like pop off of the jump as you do uphill. So this one right after the finish line, that uphill quad thing, and then there's a uphill triple over here in the back. Those are the two jumps that I think if I'm going to bust an oppo whip, it's going to be off of those. But oppo whips in this game are really hard. I don't have the ability to do the brake slide technique because my rear brake is on my trigger, and my triggers don't work together, obviously. So this is the jump I'm talking about, though. Like that, kind of. It's like a seat bounce, and you start doing a 360 to a sense, but before you let it get too far out there, you start bringing it back. Again, I'm just so terrible at these oppo whips that it's kind of useless watching me try to throw them. Oh, this is a big one. Wow, I just fell off from landing. That was a bit unheard of. Not sure what the heck happened right there. My suspension just blew right through the entire travel, and I yarded myself. Little tip, by the way, I don't know if I've ever said this in a video. I think I have. Anyway, I know people have problems sometimes over jumping something or casing something really hard. Pro tip, if you shift up to 5th gear and sit down and land nose heavy, you're pretty likely to like ride out of it. Like, let's see if I can do it up here. Like, let's over jump this. 5th gear, nose heavy, rode out of it. No problem. Don't land on the throttle either, because landing on the throttle does this weird thing where it recoils the swing arm like violently on landing. So unless you're landing on the downside of something, I would recommend not landing on the throttle. But yeah, pro tip, land on your nose and sit down. That's somehow the best way to avoid crashing when you OJ or under J something. Under J. Case. It's the proper term. Just blew my mind right there. Alright, I'm going to do one more lap as I come to the finish line here and keep talking about this lovely track. And I'm going to try to throw in one more Oppa Whip there in the back. But if you want to try out this track, if you're interested in trying out this track, head on down to the description below. There's a download link down there for this track. You can get it in your personal folder and play it for yourself and have a grandiose old time. Let's see if I can get this Oppa Whip up this hill. Again, it just doesn't kick out as far as I want it to. I used to be able to do those fairly consistently. I don't know what happened lately, but I just really can't seem to get it kick out like it used to. I don't know how I just rode out of that too. I was sitting down in braking bumps and was all over the place. I also have a tendency to whip right or tail left. I don't know if that's called a whipping to the right or a whipping to the left. I'm assuming most people will say that's a whip to the left. I get it, but I don't know why I've always done it that way, but I'm terrible at whips to the right with the tail going out to the right side. But just a weird tendency for me. All right, one more go at the Oppa Whip up this hill here. Well, little nose high, but I don't know. I guess it kicked out there a little bit. Here, let me try a kick out to the right whip. See, and then I'm gonna double whip and then crash anyway. Oh wow, how am I still on 2 wheels? Yeah, Muzart, good track, dude. Well done, well put together. Nice objects kind of mixed in. Really just fun racetrack. This one reminds me, everybody always talks about Race Tech Compound, I think it was called, or Race Tech Training Ground or something, and Mototech Husqvarna Compound. This reminds me of that in the sense that it's a very fast track. It's a little bit more like, I guess, put together like a motocross track than those 2 tracks that I just mentioned were, because those 2 tracks were really almost meant to just be like a big booter track where you just threw big whips on them. This one kind of accomplishes the, I have big booters on me, but I also have like kind of a natural motocross feel as well. So anyway, just kind of appreciating that, and yeah, overall really nicely done. I would definitely check out this track if I were you guys, like I said, down in the description below. But appreciate you guys stopping by, watching another edition of Track Walk here on the channel, SYS. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. So long for now.